Welcome everyone. Today we have this all-new 2023 BMW iX, and as you approach the vehicle, not only do you get the headlights to light up, you've got that pattern on the ground, the mirrors open, lights on the doors, tail lights, everything looks really slick. And in this night video, we're going to take a detailed look at the exterior lights, the interior ambient lighting, and get this electric car out on the road for a test drive. All right, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna take a look at the exterior lighting first, and this is all electric, so you don't have an engine in here, you don't have any open grilling. But one thing that's really awesome with this is that we have the Icon adaptive LED lights with laser lights, and it's branded as such. I have another video with the BMW laser lights if you wanna see that. You can see the turn signals go on right there. You've got full LED lights right here, and they just look really nice as well. This iX is all electric, and this is a Storm Bay metallic paint. Paired with our 22-inch black wheels, you can see the light markers from the front and the back, the turn signal there too. And of course, you're gonna get full LED taillights back here, a red LED turn signal as well. Looks really slim, kind of matches the front lights, and the lights do a little dance when you approach and leave the vehicle. Now, we've got LED license plate lights right there as well. Those are very bright, and take a look at this. You actually have redundant taillights back here for when the vehicle is open. Those are there because the lights actually go up with the tailgate. So you've got to have these right here. So that's good that you still have the safety lights there, and a very well illuminated cargo area. You've got an LED light on each side. So BMW definitely does well with this. Plus, with the power folding function here, those are illuminated there too. One last thing overhead, there's another light right up there. So this whole area is super well lit. This metallic paint is very interesting. It's kind of a bluish, grayish color. It's not showing up the greatest on the camera right now, but as you can see, we don't even have real door handles right here. These are electronic. You've got a little lever on the inside right there. There's gonna be some ambient lighting and underneath of the footwells here, and you've got full illuminated climate controls for the backseat passengers. And take a look at this. Even some backlit USB ports on the back of the seats. That's pretty cool. Now in the back seat, the lighting is actually pretty cool here too. Like I told you that there's climate controls there. You've got the same color ambient lighting at your footwell and over on the door. It's really cool. Plus, coming from the back, you get some little ambient lights that shine down on your armrest. And overhead, even though you can't see out all that great right now, you've got light reflections on this giant glass roof. And as you saw, as you approach the vehicle, you get this marking on the ground, the door handles light up, the mirrors light up, and even some ambient lighting on the top of the doors, which is really, really awesome. The seats in here are something else too. They're really customizable in different ways. You've got some nice leather material on this one as well. Really interesting, kind of sporty looking seat here. Well, let's dive into the interior. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the interior here. Now, first of all, you're gonna see these red flashing lights right here. You cannot see those to the naked eye. It's just from the camera. I'll have those covered up when we go for our test drive. Those are the sensors to keep their eyes on you to make sure you're paying attention. I'm guessing that's gonna be a big part of a future, further autonomous part of this driving experience. But take a look at these large screens in here. You've got some ambient lighting, some nicely lit buttons in here, ambient lighting on each door panel. And in this part of the video, I'm just going to kind of quickly go through the interior, mostly talk about lighting and controls. But ambient lighting up here, this is standard. I like this little ambient lighting on the speaker grill there as well. You're going to have nicely illuminated lock buttons, memory settings, even a little gentle glow down by your armrest, and some glow down in the bottle holder down there, and some footwell lighting as well. And this can be customized. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Just to the left of the steering wheel, you're going to get your actual light controls. There's not a lot of physical buttons here. You can push the auto or the off button to have it on auto or to turn them off, but you push that to go to further settings. And then that's gonna pop up a little bit more. So you can turn on just your parking lights. You can touch that to actually get into more options here. You can have your lights on automatic, which most of you will leave it there. Otherwise, you can do just low beams, turn them off, exterior lights, or go over here and you can turn off your automatic high beams if you want. So it's not as quick as some vehicles, but you still get an option over here. Then for even more options, you can touch on that screen to get this, kind of just your basic stuff on here. steering wheel has nicely illuminated buttons as well. They're fairly interesting to operate. It's a little bit different, takes a little bit of getting used to with what's what and what's where, but you got this large digital display up overhead right here, as you can see. So don't mind the flashing lights. This is semi-customizable as far as what information is available to see on here. Plus, you're gonna get a really large head-up display where you can change the graphics on that, but check out my daytime review for even more details. Coming over here, you already saw this screen. It's kind of connected to this cluster screen, but this is just massive, just a super large screen. There's a bunch of stuff that you can see and do on here, and there's so many things. It's crazy. There's so much customization. There's so many different pieces of information on here. If we just go to menu, it's unreal just how much is actually on here. You can pause if you want to, but for lighting purposes, let's go to interior lighting. So one thing that I don't like, which I'll talk about in a second, is in order to actually like turn on all the interior lights or turn on your overhead lights, you have to touch that and then touch interior light. Then that will turn all of this on, all the brightness there and all of the brightness in the back. Otherwise, if you don't do that and you want to get lights in here, you can turn on your map light or your little reading light for you or the passenger, but you can't turn on all the lights up here. You have to actually go into the screen. Kind of odd for my thoughts. You go to that button and then it shows up on there, kind of like your actual headlight buttons. So more controls on that. Now, if you want to want the lights to turn on when you open the door, you got to push this button. Otherwise, go to your ambient lighting and check this out. You can individually adjust background lighting, accent lighting, and let me show you the colors on here. So there's not as many colors as you'll find in some cars, but I mean, you pretty much got every color that you would expect on here. So let's go ahead and look at maybe a green color. It's gonna change everything green. This isn't as customizable as I was expecting for what the price is, about 115 grand, but at least you do still get some ambient lighting. You can turn it completely off if you want, or another option is you can have it reduced for night driving. So if we select that, just watch the door and the armrest. It dims. So you can have it dimmed or you can keep it bright. It just depends what you want to do. On that same interior lighting screen, you can adjust the cockpit brightness overall. So check it out. That really ramps things up on this interior ambient lighting color here. That's pretty wild. I mean, it gets pretty darn bright in here, especially the leg lighting and the lighting right up by your face right here. That's pretty bright. So if you want to turn the doors down, you have to adjust the accent lighting on the screen. And the background lighting on the screen is technically the lighting like down at your feet and your footwells, things like that. And if you go back to your menu, go to displays, this is where you can adjust your head-up display, the overall brightness of the screens here too, so you can do what you need to. Now I've talked about that a lot. You've got 4-zone climate control in here, ventilated and heated seats, heated steering wheel. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to use if you don't want to rely completely on automatic function, but I talk more about that in my full review. This little armrest here is pretty wicked. This is actually a wood panel right here and crystal finished buttons. It's pretty wild. It looks cool. Your shifters here, you've got shortcuts. I like the ambient lighting and the lighting overall around this. And this whole section has a glow of ambient lighting from overhead. It comes from right up there and it'll be whatever color you have set for your ambient lighting. And of course, in the armrest, you've got an illuminated center console area. This little tray, there's a little tray right here too. Now over on the glove box, you do have a soft opening and softly lined glove box. That's an automatic dimming rearview mirror. And then of course, you've got a really bright vanity light in here. And one thing that I want to know is that when you go into your rear view or your backup camera, you've actually got a really nice clear camera. And you can tap on these cameras to see different parts of the vehicle, whatever it is. It's fairly dark right around the vehicle and it still sees really well. Now as we turn the car on, we're going to get these adaptive lights from the Icon adaptive LED lights with laser lights. And just look at this beam pattern. First of all, it's really high and it's really bright right in the middle. Now we don't have fog lights, but when you turn the corner, you will actually get lighting to the left. It's not just going to turn on with my blinker. It's when you're moving, and I'll show you that in a second. And then with the high beams are really bright, nice and wide, and they'll actually kind of crescendo into a brightness when you're driving. You'll see that in a little bit. As of right now, these don't have IIHS ratings, but let's get them out on the road. Now, as we look off into the distance, you'll see that that hill is very well illuminated. That is much more than what I see on a lot of vehicles. Even the left side, where the driver's side is supposed to dip, does dip, but it still lights that hill up really well. And these headlights are nice and bright. And then the high beam lights up that hill very well as well. So things look really good here. All right, y'all, right off the bat, we are in the iX at night, and look, as I turn to the left, you get the left side of the car that lights up. That's both sides, so that's part of the adaptive lights. We also have adaptive lighting as far as the leveling and the side to side. You'll see that in motion, and we're gonna get on some dark roads, some semi-lit roads, so you get an idea of what it's like to drive this car at night. And these lights do a pretty darn good job. Did you see those high beams right there? First of all, they just flashed that crossing car, but they crescendoed open and closed once we got to the right speed. Now, I gotta say, this car is super cool and super fun, and if you want to see more details of everything, including the driving experience, be sure to check out my full daytime review coming out after this video. But check out this M60, this iX M60 Power. Let me put us in sport mode for just a second, and let's get a little pedal down. Here we go. Oh my gosh, it gives you some serious willies. This car is absolutely bananas. Okay, while we're here, the rearview mirror is auto dimming. The driver's side mirror is auto dimming as well, and I'm gonna have the automatic high beams on. I've got the head-up display on. There's different variations of the head-up display you can do, and I've got the interior brightness ambient lighting about 50% right now. But so far, the automatic high beams are on right now, so the overhead lights don't distract it. And full disclosure, the US does not get the same type of lighting system as some other countries that I know of in Europe, so it's not going to be the same if you're in different markets for me, which is the US. Now, so far on this road, I haven't had any other oncoming traffic, but these lights have been really good. The high beams have pretty much stayed on the whole time, and those are super bright. You even get an adaptive function that is visible with these overhead lights, but we'll get on a dark road in just a sec. All right, y'all, we're now getting on a dark road. We'll take some dark corners, get an idea of the adaptive lights, the high beams. High beams just turned back on. Super wide, super bright, lights up this entire corner very well. Let me go just to low beams. Watch us flatten out, and those light up that corner very well again. So let's see how this function does going around a corner. So far so good. I have good visibility up into that corner. I'm gonna let the high beams go back on. Automatic high beams are on, so you can see very well down there. Good distance. I'm gonna do the low beams again here. Low beam cutoff line is further than what it is in a lot of vehicles. I'm gonna turn the high beams back on. Boom, big crescendo on that tree. Very nice job. The lights are so bright, so wide, that you can't hardly even see the adaptive function. But even in high beam setting here, you can still see a little bit of that adaptive function. They just do a really good job of being wide and just being bright, dispersed all over the place. High beams are on right now. Let's go with the low beams. The low beam distance is still good. I'm still actually really happy with that. And the width of the lights is good too. We don't have fog lights, but I can still see into the ditches pretty well. We'll test the width in a second on some very short corners and see how they do. All right, now I'm at a spot where we've got a couple of sharp little turns where a lot of vehicles are so narrow with their lights that you can't see anything if you're turning one way or another. Adaptive headlights work great in the distance, but these have the adaptive cornering light that lights up next to the vehicle. And these lights are actually pretty wide, so I can actually see over there where most vehicles I cannot. So for example, as I start going, turn the wheel to expose what was over here. Immediately next to the vehicle you get light, but you could see this very well, and I can see really well down that way to where I don't have a question at all about what is in those corners. So sharp corners, dark areas, this does so well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the ambiance in here and the lighting overall. Thank you so much and have a great night.